Hey, what's going on, y'all? What's up, YouTube? I know it's been a while. There's been a video I've been meaning to make just about what my channel is moving forward and what the type of topics that I'll be talking about. Because I know when a lot of people come to my channel, they might be confused on what's going on. So that video is going to be coming up today. I'll be posting it today. But this video is specifically about, it's actually about the Holocaust and about Anne Frank. Now, this morning, I don't know what it was, man, but something in my spirit wanted me to wake up and just search. Like something in my spirit just told me to wake up and research more about the Anne Frank story. Because even back when I was in school, there were certain things that I really didn't understand. And there's a lot of things that hope you can hear me, all these damn cars going by. But this is walk and talk. But yeah, there was a lot of things that I didn't understand, and a lot of things that they didn't go into detail about. So something in my spirit just wanted me to start looking that up and start researching it. And there was things that I found today that I didn't even know about, man. A lot of people know the story about Anne Frank, so we're not going to go that much into detail about it. But what I found interesting was the fact that Otto, his name is Otto. Otto was the guy that was the last standing. And it goes without saying that Anne Frank's family was not the only family that happened to back in that time period. But nonetheless, Otto Frank was one of the members of his family that was able to tell the story. And it just made me think, man, like, wow, just imagine. So for people who don't know, because I don't think they went that much into detail about hang on, I'm crossing the street. I don't think they went into much detail about what exactly happened to Otto as well. So Otto's part of the story is interesting, man, because essentially Otto Frank was able to survive because it wasn't just because of luck, even though he did say that it was luck, but he also mentioned there was other reasons as well that went into that. Because towards the end, he was able to survive because the soldiers there that was doing that to those guys, they were panicking. So basically, just to give a little bit more detail, the war was getting ready to be over. They lost. The Nazis lost. They lost, and they were getting word of that from their colleagues. Before they started to lose connection. And from then on, that they were scrambling. I mean, these cowards were scrambling. They didn't know what to do. They were trying to hide evidence. And that's when, the story of, the gas chambers came into play, because that's what they were doing. They were using that to get rid of evidence as well. So they were just, they were trying to figure out whatever they could, to kind of cover their tracks, So not only did they lose, but those guys were cowards. They were cowards in the end. And, at that time, they needed labor workers. And, well, you can't have labor workers if they're sick, right? That's essentially what happened to a lot of them, especially Otto Frank. He fell very, very sick. And shoot, you can't have slaves if they're sick, right? A lot of them got sick. A lot of them got sick, and he felt very ill. But see, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Nobody was technically supposed to survive. They were all supposed to go. They were all supposed to go to this this thing called the Death March. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that. You know, again, I apologize if you guys already know the story and stuff like that, but there's things that I didn't, like when I was in school, man, they never mentioned any of this. Like, for the most part, when you're learning it in school, they only teach you about the base surface about what happened to Anne Frank. You know, if you're learning it in school, you're gonna have to go and learn more on your own. You know, because this whole time I thought I knew the whole story, but there were certain pieces and puzzles that was missing. You know, and that was where he was supposed to be going. He didn't go because, well, they didn't make him go because he was sick. They basically left everybody who was sick. They left them for dead. They left them for dead because they couldn't do anything. They could barely move. You know, they weighed under like 100 pounds, most of them. So that they left them there to die. And ironically, that was actually what saved his life in the end. Around 1945, forgive me if I'm wrong, that was when Amsterdam got liberated and the war had ended. And you know, I just wanted to share that with you guys, you know, because there was like certain pieces of the puzzle that was missing. And, you know, all day I just kept thinking like, wow, man, like just imagine if they could have held out just a little while longer, man. And, you know, because it's real easy just to read about it, you know, like people need to put that into perspective about, you know, what they went through. Like those guys went through. Like, I just can't even imagine, man. Like, these guys had to go into hiding for almost 3 years, man. It would have been going on 3 years. Like, just imagine that, man. Like, they had to hide for 2 whole years, man. Jesus. You know, it's easy to read it and think about it now because you can't really fathom something like that, you know? And then they had to hide up in the attic, and yeah, man, you know. So I just wanted to make this video and just say that you know, I really appreciate Otto for getting Anne's message out there. You know, I really appreciate Otto. Excuse me. You know, getting his daughter's word out there, you know, because I don't think he realized, but he was a very, very important part to history. Hey guys, check this out. I don't want to be insensitive, you know what I'm saying, but I'm currently walking past, and I love this guy's house, man. He always be having the coolest stuff out here. Look at that. That is awesome. Look at that. All right, guys, I'm almost home. So this area usually doesn't have a lot of cars. But yeah, man, it was just something I've been thinking about, guys. I appreciate if you're still here. I do appreciate you. You know, I try not to ramble too much. Like this topic was really it was really important to me to get out, you know what I'm saying? Because something in my spirit just told me to dig further into the Anne Frank story for some reason today. I don't know why. And it turns out one of Anne's friends, I believe, yeah, one of Anne's friends, I believe, she passed away literally this same time 2 years ago. I think she passed away either on October 29th or October 30th. Yeah, so this is actually her anniversary. Again, forgive me if I'm wrong. If I'm not mistaken, that's the time frame that she passed away. I can't remember I can't remember her name though. I have to look up her name and probably drop it in the chat or drop it in the video. But yeah, she passed away around this time, this same time 2 years ago, 2022, I think. I think. Yeah, man. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. To wrap this video up, to kind of sum up everything, you know, Otto, I'm glad he got his I'm glad he got the story out. I'm glad he got Ann's story out. I'm glad he got his family story out. And just like I was saying earlier about him being very important to history, he is, and he will always be important to history, always, because what happened to Anne Frank came straight from the horse's mouth. So there's nobody that could come out and try to lie and try to twist the narrative or try to twist what happened, you know, because I mean, people do that all the time with stories. You know, you leave it to them. They'll tell it how they want to tell it. But no, not with Otto. He made sure that her story was told. He made sure that his story was told, and that her story was told, and his family's story was told. You know. So yeah, I just wanted to make that video, and you know, because again, like I don't know what it was today, man. It's just something that came around and just wanted me to dig deeper into it, man. And like, and by the way, there's one more thing about that too. A lot of people say that that Anne Frank was killed. That's technically not true. She actually died of a disease. She was on her way to the execution, unfortunately, but she ended up passing away. Her and the mom and her sister, I believe. So I mean, if we're digging into technicalities, they technically did make it to the end. You know, they just died. They died days before the war ended, man. And that's what I kept seeing online when I was doing some, you know, good research and reading the books and stuff. Like, wow, these guys made it all the way to the end, man. They all did, you know, but they died. You know, there was a lot of diseases going on. It was a bad disease going on around that time period. You know, and they almost made it. They almost made it. You know, and by great fortune, you know, Otto fell very ill, and he just, I mean, he was just done, and they just left him there, and that's how he was able to survive. It's pretty crazy to think about, man. It really is. It's really crazy to think about. It's really wild to think about, honestly, you know. Like, I really can't imagine being in that situation. Like, those guys had to do that for 2 years, man. Like, that's 2 years, and they almost made it too. They almost made it. They almost made it, man. You know, and there's theories. I'm not gonna get into them. You know, I might get into you know, once I get more research about it. But apparently, there was some people that ratted him out towards the end there. They're saying that he was Jewish as well. That's what they're saying. You know, I mean, if that's true, oh my goodness, that's fucked up, man. That's really fucked up. Because they rationalize his thought process by saying, well, he did that in order to protect his family. You know, well, I mean, if it was me, I'm putting myself at risk. I'm gonna try my best to fucking get the hell out of there. You know? But I mean, shoot, man. things happen, man. Shoot, you know, truth be told, they would have made it if it wasn't for him. They definitely would have made it. But yeah, I don't want the video to be too long. I appreciate y'all walking with me. Hopefully this video got y'all through you know, the workout routine that y'all doing possibly, or maybe you're fixing something to eat. But I appreciate y'all watching the video. If you made it this far, thanks a lot. I'll see y'all next time.
Anyone before, and I hope that you will be a great support and comfort to me.
Anna didn't write those words when you were all in hiding, did she? It was before then.
It was on her 13th birthday.
So she didn't know at the time how important her diary was going to become to her?
Not at all.
What gave you the idea of publishing the diary?
Well, after I had read the diary, I copied it. And I gave a copy to friends of ours who had known us all. One of them was employed in a publishing firm. And he told me, you have not the right to keep the diary as a private property. It's a human document and you should publish it. And so I did.
Have you ever regretted that decision, or are you happy about it still?
I didn't regret it, because Anna wrote in one of her diaries, I want to go on living after my death. And in a certain way, through her diary, she is living on in many hearts.
Yes, and in many countries too, because do you know how many languages Anna's diary has been translated into?
There are 54.
That's a tremendous amount, really spread around.